Hi, I'm Daisy, VP of Sales at Katalon, and here's a run-through of how Katalon Studio can provide test automation and continuous testing interoperability into your team's Azure DevOps workflow.
Azure DevOps provides developer services to plan work, to collaborate on code development, and also to build and deploy applications. So there's many standalone services that you might have already been using. Let's say Azure repositories, which we will talk a little bit about later. It provides Git repositories or team foundation, version control for source control of your codes. Azure test plans, it has different tools to test your apps, including manual, exploratory testing, and also continuous testing. And Azure Pipelines in particular provides the build and release services to support continuous integration and then also delivery of your application. So all in all, out of these 8 different standalone services, we're going to take a look at what we already have actually with Katalon Studio.
What you see here is Katalon Studio has already established native integration with 3 key components, which are Azure Repos, Pipeline, and Test Plans.
Goal is allow you to increase collaboration and productivity among your team members. And similar to Azure Pipeline, the current integration, or I guess the long-established integration between Azure Pipeline and Katalon Runtime Engine, in particular, allows user to trigger the run of Katalon tests in Azure Pipeline.
The third one is with Azure Test Plans. This comes with a couple of benefits for your team.
Number one is on requirement traceability. So for example, if a manual test case is created in Azure Test Plan, which is later linked to an automated test script in Katalon Studio, we want to make sure that the results of the execution will automatically reflect in the test case outcome of Azure Test Plan. So that's number one. Number two is it will allow you to understand automation level of your manual test cases. So what that would mean is when you run an automated test script on Katalon Studio, the relevant test run will include like a property with the automated tag on Azure Test Plans. And then most importantly is interoperability. It allows businesses to increase different integration, synchronization among the different systems. It allows you to map the manual test cases in ADO to automated test cases in Katalon Studio for you to understand which test cases are automated. So there are steps regarding integrations and setting up, mapping the different test cases and the results of the test cases.
All of that information can be found at docs.katalon.com.
Number two is how do we automatically create test runs and test results in Azure Test Plans when executing? And as part of execution, right, you should be able to see test execution logs and reports from Katalon Studio to test run in ADO, and how you can use that as test artifacts. And in the future, you could use that for debugging or making sure that you have full understanding of your quality knowledge.
To see how this works, I'll give a quick demo in Katalon Studio with the use case of ADO pipeline and test plans for continuous testing.
For the sake of time, we are not going to talk about the setting up the integrations and then also the test artifacts mapping and test configuration mapping, but we will showcase directly on Azure. So in particular demo, what you will see here is we're on Azure DevOps. We're clicking on the pipeline, and then system will automatically open the pipelines. You can choose to go to edit certain pipeline here. So what we do allow is we allow users to dynamically change the test run information on the CLI. So Katalon support user to change the test plan ID that you see that I'm highlighting here. You can also change and update the test run name in particular, and then also the build number of a test run. All of this information can be updated through using command line. So once you have updated all of this, you can click on save and then also commit directly to the master branch here and then click on save. So once I have this ready, I'm going to click out here As you can see, I'm going to start running. So just quickly here, I'm opening up the running the automation script. And on the left-hand side and on the middle part here, you will see the different steps and progress within my running. So just a couple of things as I'm highlighting. Number one is related to the download KIE package here. When running the automation script, if you download the plugin from the marketplace in particular, for Katalon Studio as well as Azure DevOps, you will not need to download the KRE package or the Katalon Runtime Engine package. The extension will complete that action for you automatically. And then also, very interestingly, it allows you to select the version of Katalon Runtime Engine that will be downloaded as well. So when you're running this in the command line, we highly recommend you to use a command builder to generate the different commands as well. Looking at the log here, you will see that there's continuous communication between Katalon Studio and Azure shown directly on the log. So coming up shortly, we will show you the information that Azure is highlighting. So in particular, what kind of test run is created when the execution is finished. So let me pull it up to that quickly. So I'm just going to pause on this quickly. And you can see that all of this information related to Azure information. So for example, when are they updating test case result? What kind of file logs? When are they completing the test run, for example? All of this information will be available. And this is actually reflects the configurations that you as users have previously defined. So for example, which attachments will be sent when a test case passes or fails, or any further configurations that you have previously set up. So as you can see, I'm highlighting it here. You can see that there's also a URL in particular generated for the Azure test run as well. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to click out here and just view the details of the recent test runs as well. So I just open my Run Explorer. You can see information related to my test build, any attachments, the outcomes of the particular test runs as well. And let's say for the case that we did just now related to lawn test runs, you can see the information at very high level in terms of the tested build. And for example, what are the attachments that we have predefined as part of configurations, the outcome by priority, etc., as well as any other related information such as the duration, configuration, etc. So one of the things that we also talked about briefly is how do we link this back to the test case within Katalon Studio as well. So what you'll see here is I'm highlighting the test case ID, which is 119. So you'll see that there's a new tab, which is the integrations tab here as part of scripting your test cases. So this tab is actually only available when you complete the integrations between Azure DevOps as well as Katalon Studio. So as you can see, I'm mapping and verifying the different test case ID here and making sure that it matches. There's also a button here that allows you to verify as well. In the future, when you would like to verify a test case, you can verify also multiple IDs as well, just by, or map to multiple IDs by putting in the different IDs here and then separating them by comma, for example, and then just click on verify just to check if the test case ID exists in ADO for mapping in the future.
That's it for this video. If Katalon Studio sounds like the right solution for your team, go ahead and visit katalon.com to schedule a call with our experts.